Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. The morning sunlight streams through the blinds, slicing across the kitchen where Michael sits, his mind tangled in thought. A half-eaten piece of toast lies forgotten on his plate. The mundane sound of the ticking wall clock seems unnaturally loud today. His eyes keep darting back to the sleek, black purse resting on the chair opposite him. It's Jenna's. She must have left it there last night when she stumbled in, exhausted from her business trip. Curiosity, a silent whisper at the back of his mind, urges him to look inside. It's not suspicion that drives him, no, it's something lighter, almost playful. They have no secrets, or so he believes. With a slight chuckle at his own nosiness, Michael reaches over and pulls the purse towards him. The contents are mundane: lipstick, a crumpled tissue, some pens, and her wallet. As he picks up the wallet to place it back, a slip of paper flutters out, drifting lazily to the floor. He leans down, picks it up, and unfolds it. It's a hotel receipt. The Grandview Hotel, it reads, dated just 2 days ago. 2 guests. His brow furrows. Jenna had told him her conference was a solo affair, accommodation included. Morning, love, Jenna's voice breaks through his thoughts as she enters the kitchen. She's in her robe, hair tousled from sleep. Her presence suddenly makes the kitchen feel complete. Hey, Michael says, trying to sound normal as he shows her the receipt. Found this in your purse. Why does it say 2 guests? Jenna takes the receipt, her eyes scanning it briefly. Confusion mars her features as she shrugs. Oh, that must be a mistake. You know, the company booked everything. They must have mixed it up. I ended up sharing the room with a colleague. Ellie, from accounting. It was all last minute. Michael nods, but a seed of doubt plants itself in his heart. She seems genuine, rubbing her eyes tiredly, sipping her coffee. But something about her casual dismissal doesn't sit right with him. Why hadn't she mentioned sharing a room before? Ellie, huh? Never heard you mention her, Michael probes gently, watching Jenna's face. Oh, she's new. Quiet girl. You know I hate sharing rooms, but there was no choice, really, Jenna replies with a small, apologetic smile. She walks over, pecks him on the cheek, and starts rummaging through the fridge. The rest of the morning passes in a routine blur. Kisses goodbye, sounds of Jenna leaving for work, the mundane turning of day. Yet, Michael's mind whirls. The receipt lies on the kitchen counter, a benign piece of paper that feels heavier than it looks. As the day stretches on, the seed of doubt sprouts, fed by the niggling thought that things might not be as they seem. Driven by a newfound resolve, Michael decides to investigate further. He needs to know who was really at the hotel with Jenna. Not for suspicion's sake, but for the sake of his own peace of mind. He pulls out his laptop, his fingers poised over the keyboard. It's time to dig a little deeper. He starts with the simplest step. He calls the Grandview Hotel, his voice steady, asking about the booking under Jenna's company. The answers he gets are not the ones he expects, and with each word from the hotel staff, the ground beneath him shifts slightly, threatening to crack open. It wasn't Ellie who shared the room with Jenna. It wasn't even a woman. As the reality dawns, a plan begins to form, dark and vengeful. But first, he needs to know more. The truth is just at the surface, beckoning him forward into the murky depths of deceit. The game has just begun. Michael parks his car a block away from Jenna's office building. It's a typical corporate skyscraper, a glass and steel monument to business. He taps his fingers on the steering wheel, his mind replaying the conversation with the hotel receptionist. Yes, sir, the receptionist had said. The room was booked for Ms. Jenna Harris and Mr. Arthur Reed. They checked in together. Arthur Reed. The name doesn't ring a bell, but the implication is clear. Jenna lied. She said she shared a room with Ellie from accounting, yet here is undeniable evidence she was with a man. A man Michael doesn't know. The receptionist's further description of Arthur Reed as an older gentleman in his 70s added another layer of confusion. Why would Jenna share a room with a man, especially an old man, and not mention it? Michael takes a deep breath and steps out of the car. He needs answers, and he knows just where to start. He makes his way into the lobby, bypassing the security desk with a confident nod, heading straight for the elevators. His heart pounds as he presses the button for the 15th floor, where Jenna's company, Sterling Solutions, has its offices. The elevator doors open with a soft ding, and Michael steps out into a bustling office space. He spots a familiar face, Jenna's friend, Lisa, from the HR department. Lisa is someone Michael has always found friendly and approachable. Lisa, he calls, forcing a smile. She turns, surprise flashing across her face. Michael. What brings you here? Lisa asks, walking over. Hey, I was just in the area and thought I'd surprise Jenna. Is she around? Lisa's smile falters slightly. She's in a meeting with Mr. Reed. They've been in there for a while. Should I tell her you're here? Michael's pulse quickens. Mr. Reed. It has to be the same man from the hotel. No, that's all right. I'll wait. Maybe you could join me for a coffee while I wait. Lisa hesitates, then nods. Sure, I could use a break. Let's go to the lounge. They walk to the break room, a cozy space with a few chairs and a coffee machine. Lisa pours herself a cup and offers one to Michael, which he accepts. So, how's everything? Michael starts casually. Jenna's been really busy lately with all these trips. Lisa sighs, taking a sip of her coffee. Yeah, the new project has everyone on edge. Especially Mr. Reed. He's very demanding. Michael leans in, feigning interest. What's he like? Oh, Mr. Reed. Lisa laughs softly. He's a character. Old school. He's been with the company forever. Kind of a mentor to everyone, especially Jenna. They've been working closely on this latest project. Michael's heart sinks. Closely. How close? Lisa looks at him curiously. Well, they've had to spend a lot of late nights and weekends together. I think he sees her as a bit of a protégé. She's really been stepping up. Michael forces a smile. That's good to hear. Their conversation is interrupted by a sudden commotion from the office. Raised voices, one of them unmistakably Jenna's. Michael's curiosity peaks, and he stands up. Excuse me, Lisa. I think I need to check on Jenna. He strides out of the break room and heads towards the source of the noise. The voices are coming from behind a closed conference room door. He hesitates, then knocks firmly. The voices inside quiet down, and after a moment, the door opens a crack. Jenna's face appears, flushed and surprised. Michael? What are you doing here? I need to talk to you, he says, his voice calm but firm. Now. Jenna glances back into the room, then steps out, closing the door behind her. This isn't a good time, Michael. It wasn't a good time when I found a hotel receipt for 2 people in your purse either, he snaps back. Why didn't you tell me about Mr. Reed? Jenna's eyes widen, her face paling. Michael, I can explain. Then explain, he demands. Because right now, it looks like you've been lying to me. Jenna takes a deep breath, glancing around the office hallway to ensure no one is listening. Okay, let's go somewhere private. They head back to the break room, which is now empty. Jenna closes the door, turning to face Michael with a mixture of frustration and fear. Arthur Reed is my boss, she starts. He's been mentoring me, and yes, we had to share a room because of a booking mistake. I didn't tell you because I knew how it would sound. Damn right, it sounds bad, Michael retorts. Why not tell me the truth from the start? Because I didn't want you to worry, Jenna says, her voice trembling. Arthur's harmless. He's old enough to be my grandfather. This project means everything for my career, Michael. I couldn't risk anything jeopardizing it. Michael's anger softens slightly, but the doubt remains. So, nothing happened between you two? Nothing, Jenna insists. I swear. Just then, the break room door opens, and an elderly man with sharp eyes and a stern demeanor steps in. Arthur Reed. Jenna, we need to, oh, excuse me, he says, noticing Michael. You must be Michael. I've heard a lot about you. Michael stiffens, nodding curtly. Mr. Reed. Arthur offers a polite smile, though there's an air of authority about him. Jenna, we need to wrap up our meeting soon. The board is waiting for our presentation. Jenna nods, clearly anxious. I'll be there in a minute, Arthur. As Mr. Reed leaves, Michael turns back to Jenna. This isn't over. We'll talk tonight. Jenna nods, relief and worry etched on her face. Please, Michael. Trust me. Michael watches her leave, his mind swirling with emotions. The confrontation has only added to his confusion. He can't shake the feeling that there's more to this story than Jenna is letting on. As he heads back to his car, a plan begins to form. He's not just going to trust her words. He's going to find out the truth, no matter what it takes. The evening air is cool as Michael walks into his house. He feels the weight of the day's revelations pressing on his shoulders. Jenna's car is already in the driveway, indicating she's home. He takes a deep breath, steeling himself for the confrontation that awaits. Inside, the house is quiet. Michael hears the faint clinking of dishes from the kitchen. He walks in to find Jenna washing up, her movements mechanical and tense. She doesn't look up as he enters. Hey, he says softly. Hey, she replies, her voice flat. An awkward silence settles between them. Michael's mind races with everything he's learned today. He decides to break the tension. Can we talk about this morning? He asks, leaning against the counter. Jenna sighs, turning off the faucet. She dries her hands and faces him. Michael, I've told you everything. There's nothing more to say. Michael shakes his head. I don't believe you. There's something you're not telling me. Jenna's eyes flash with frustration. What do you want from me? I've explained everything. Arthur Reed is just my boss. That's it. Michael steps closer, his voice low but firm. Then why didn't you tell me you were sharing a room with him? Why lie about it? Jenna's shoulders slump, and she looks away. I didn't lie. I just omitted the truth. I knew how it would look, and I didn't want you to worry. Michael's anger flares. Omitted the truth. Jenna, that's just a fancy way of saying you lied. Tears well up in Jenna's eyes. I'm sorry, Michael. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just wanted to focus on the project without distractions. Michael softens slightly, but his resolve remains. I need to know everything, Jenna. No more secrets. Jenna nods, wiping her eyes. Okay. I'll tell you everything. She takes a deep breath and begins. Arthur has been mentoring me since I started this job. He sees potential in me, and he's been pushing me to take on more responsibilities. When the company messed up the hotel booking, I had no choice but to share a room with him. It was awkward, but nothing happened. I swear. Michael listens, trying to gauge her sincerity. He wants to believe her, but the nagging doubt remains. I just don't understand why you didn't tell me from the start, he says, his voice softening. Jenna looks at him with pleading eyes. I was scared, Michael. Scared that you'd think the worst. Scared that it would ruin everything we've worked so hard for. Michael runs a hand through his hair, frustration boiling over. I need some air. He walks out of the house, the cool night air hitting him like a wave. He takes deep breaths, trying to calm his racing thoughts. His phone buzzes in his pocket, and he pulls it out, seeing a text from Lisa. Hey, Michael. I know you're worried about Jenna. Meet me at the coffee shop down the street. I think there's something you need to know. Michael's heart skips a beat. He texts back a quick reply and heads to the coffee shop, his mind spinning with possibilities. Lisa is already there when he arrives, sitting in a corner booth with a cup of coffee in front of her. She looks up as he approaches, her face serious. Thanks for coming, she says as he sits down. Lisa, what's going on? Michael asks, his voice tense. Lisa takes a deep breath. I didn't want to say anything earlier because I didn't have all the details, but there's something off about Mr. Reed. He's been overly friendly with Jenna, and not in a professional way. Michael's blood runs cold. What do you mean? I mean he's been making advances, Lisa says, her voice low. Subtle at first, but it's been getting worse. Jenna's been trying to handle it herself, but I think she's scared. Michael's hands clench into fists. Why didn't she tell me? Because she's worried about her career. Arthur has a lot of influence in the company. If she speaks out, it could ruin everything for her, Lisa explains. Michael's mind races. Jenna's fear and secrecy make sense now, but it doesn't lessen the betrayal he feels. He stands up abruptly. Thanks, Lisa. I need to talk to Jenna. He rushes back home, his heart pounding. Jenna is sitting on the couch, looking up as he bursts through the door. Michael, what's wrong? She asks, alarmed. I just talked to Lisa, he says, his voice shaking with anger and concern. She told me what's really been going on with Reed. Jenna's face goes pale. Michael, I can explain. Why didn't you tell me? Michael interrupts, his voice rising. You should have come to me. We could have dealt with this together. Tears stream down Jenna's face. I was scared, Michael. Scared of what he could do to my career. Scared of losing everything. Michael's anger softens into sorrow. He sits down next to her, taking her hands in his. We'll figure this out. Together. Jenna nods, her grip on his hands tightening. Thank you, Michael. I'm so sorry. As they sit together, a new resolve forms in Michael's mind. Arthur Reed has crossed a line, and it's time to make him pay. Michael isn't just going to protect Jenna, he's going to bring Reed down, no matter what it takes. The next few days are a whirlwind of tension and planning. Michael and Jenna work together to gather evidence against Arthur Reed. They need a solid case to present to the company and, if necessary, the authorities. Michael's anger and hurt are channeled into a fierce determination to protect his wife and bring the truth to light. It's a rainy evening when Jenna finally manages to secure a meeting with the company's HR director, Samantha Collins. Samantha is a no-nonsense woman with a reputation for fairness. Michael and Jenna sit in the HR office, their nerves taut as Samantha reviews the documents and recordings they've gathered. This is serious, Samantha says, looking up from the papers. If what you're alleging is true, it's not just inappropriate behavior, it's a gross abuse of power. Jenna nods, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. I know. That's why we're here. I've been scared to come forward, but with Michael's support, I can't stay silent anymore. Samantha leans back in her chair, her expression thoughtful. We'll need to investigate this thoroughly. There will be interviews, and Arthur will have a chance to defend himself. But rest assured, We take these matters very seriously. Thank you, Michael says, his relief palpable. We just want this to be handled fairly. As they leave the office, Jenna grips Michael's hand tightly. I'm so glad you're with me in this, she whispers. Always, Michael replies, squeezing her hand. We'll get through this together. The investigation proceeds rapidly. Arthur Reed is temporarily suspended, and the office buzzes with rumors. Michael keeps a close eye on Jenna, wary of any retaliation. He knows this is a crucial time, and they need to stay strong. A week later, Michael receives an unexpected call from Lisa. Michael, I found something you need to see, she says urgently. Meet me at my place. It's important. Michael agrees, his curiosity piqued. He heads to Lisa's apartment, wondering what new information she could have uncovered. When he arrives, Lisa greets him with a grim expression. I did some digging, Lisa begins, handing him a thick folder. And I found something disturbing about Arthur Reed's past. Michael opens the folder and scans the documents inside. His eyes widen as he reads. This can't be real. It is, Lisa confirms. Arthur Reed has a history of manipulating and coercing employees, especially young women. There have been complaints, but they were all swept under the rug. He's been protected by higher-ups because of his connections and tenure. Michael's blood boils. So this isn't the first time he's done something like this. No, Lisa says, shaking her head. And it won't be the last unless we stop him. Armed with this new information, Michael and Jenna meet with Samantha Collins again. This time, they're more prepared, more determined. Samantha listens intently as they present their findings. This changes everything, she says, her eyes narrowing. If what you're saying is true, Reed has been a liability for years. We'll launch a deeper investigation and bring in external auditors. He won't be able to hide from this. The days that follow are intense. The company's investigation widens, and more victims come forward, emboldened by Jenna's bravery. Arthur Reed is officially terminated, his reputation in ruins. The company's board issues a public statement, condemning his actions and pledging to create a safer, more transparent workplace. Michael and Jenna feel a sense of justice, but the emotional toll is heavy. They decide to take a short vacation to clear their minds and reconnect. They head to a quiet cabin by a serene lake, far from the chaos of the city. One evening, as they sit by the fireplace, Jenna turns to Michael, her eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you for standing by me, she says softly. I couldn't have done this without you. Michael smiles, pulling her close. We're a team. We'll always face things together. Their peaceful moment is interrupted by the sound of a car approaching the cabin. Michael stands up, his body tensing. Stay here, he tells Jenna, moving towards the door. He opens the door to find an elderly man standing on the porch, drenched from the rain. It's Arthur Reed. What are you doing here? Michael demands, his voice cold and hard. Reed looks defeated, a shell of the imposing figure he once was. I need to talk to you, he says quietly. Please, just hear me out. Michael's instinct is to shut the door in his face, but something in Reed's eyes stops him. He steps aside, allowing the man to enter. Jenna stands behind Michael, her expression wary. Reed sits down, his hands shaking. I've lost everything, he begins. And I deserve it. I've done terrible things, things I'm not proud of. But there's something you need to know. What could you possibly say that would matter now? Jenna asks, her voice sharp. Reed looks at her, his eyes filled with regret. I'm dying. Cancer. I don't have much time left. The room falls silent, the weight of his words hanging heavily in the air. I know that doesn't excuse what I've done, Reed continues. But I need you to understand why. I was pressured, manipulated by people higher up. They used me to keep control, to maintain their power. I became their tool, and in the process, I lost my humanity. Michael and Jenna exchange a look, their anger mingling with a reluctant empathy. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Reed says. I just wanted to tell the truth before it's too late. There are people in the company, powerful people, who need to be exposed. They've hurt more people than you can imagine. Jenna steps forward, her voice softening. Why now? Why tell us this? Reed sighs, his shoulders slumping. Because you're the only ones who have the courage to do something about it. You've already started the fight. Finish it. Expose them. Michael nods slowly. We will. But you need to leave now. Reed stands, nodding in understanding. Thank you for listening. I hope you find the justice you're seeking. As Reed leaves, Michael closes the door, turning to Jenna. What do you think? Jenna's eyes are thoughtful. I think we need to dig deeper. If what he said is true, there's a bigger fight ahead of us. Michael pulls her into a hug. Then we'll face it together. Just like we always do. As they sit by the fire, the future feels uncertain, but their bond is stronger than ever. They've uncovered the truth, but their journey is far from over. And as they look into the flames, they know they'll face whatever comes next, side by side.